Well, here I am back again talking about just, random things. It's been about a month, and the reason why I've taken this long is because I've recorded three of these in succession, and when reviewing, especially the second one, no one's heard the third one, but when I was reviewing the second one, I kind of realized I wasn't up to par with the first one. I also like to listen to the way I talk, and I noticed that when I was talking, I said the two words "you know" a lot. And I find that when I generally don't have a game plan for, what I'm talking about, I'll say that a lot. Or when I'm trying to find myself, and when I'm saying it that much, it doesn't work. It just won't work. The third one is pretty decent. It is about college, but I also kind of realized something. I've recorded the first one. That was the best one out of the three. Out of irritation, not irritation in the sense that like a single event happened and I need to really rant about it. But irritation in the sense that I'll hear a certain theme from multiple people, a certain, I guess, thing being said or an idea being said, and it's reoccurring places, and it won't really like bother me. Like it won't like it's not like it really bothers me a whole lot, but over time, hearing enough people say it or talk about it, it'll kind of get to my head a little bit, and it'll start to irritate me. And that's why I'll create these podcasts is to kind of talk about it and express. Because once I start to get irritated, I like to talk more than I already do. And I mean, I'm back here again, so obviously there's something new to talk about, and that's being in college. I hear a lot. I mean, as you know, there's a lot of drama when people that are younger, well, air quotes drama. You can't really see me doing it, but there's air quotes drama happening, and you'll have fights going on, and there's people bickering and yelling, and just a bunch of unnecessary things. Number one thing I'll hear a lot is especially when there's drinking, and surprise, I've been around drinking before. It's college, but thankfully my parents have been smart in the way they've introduced me to it, so I'm making smart choices. But that's a different discussion for a different day. So, anyways, especially when drinking, you'll hear phrases like drunk talk and things like that, and you'll hear people say, don't listen to him or her. It's just, they're drunk. They're not speaking like they normally would, and not just that. You also have people who will get hysterical, you get really upset, and you'll be told they've been going through a lot, and both those two things, both those two reasons I just said, they're not invalid reasons. Like they're not things to really disprove. It's just it's this notion of ignore what they're saying, they don't mean it. And what I found is that, and also kind of want to believe is that people what they say usually reflects about what they think most of the time. I mean, you have some people who will blow hot air. And a lot of times when people they'll get upset, they'll talk and say things in these situations. It's that it'll be something you won't hear it before, and people will explain like, oh no, don't worry about it. And it's my opinion that, and what I believe is that generally people, I just don't want to believe that when people get these ways, that they get in that state of mind or whatever it is, that this comes out of nowhere. Like this, suddenly their brain creates an idea or a notion or an ideology that's just completely new. I mean, I don't believe that. We do have our own preconceived notions about things, and my opinion is that when we're in vulnerable states like those two I explained, they're more likely to come out. Like especially when people are under the influence of alcohol, they're more confident to do things, to say things, to explain things, to act. That's why you have. I mean, that's why I don't know where I was going with that thought. I'm sorry about that. It's you kind of rephrase myself. But anyways, when you're in the influence of that, my belief is that it removes a filter. You're more likely to say things you wouldn't before. I don't like to believe that you'll suddenly just start blowing hot air. Like everything you're saying is just complete nonsense. There are some things out there that you can take and be under the influence of, such as marijuana, that you will start blowing hot air. I do understand there are some things out there. And a lot of times, like I said before, I'll hear in college that don't listen to them. Like they're just they're just kind of drunk or whatever. And I don't want to really believe. I don't like to believe that it's just complete hot air. And then there's also the other case I was making where, obviously you're in college, stress levels get extremely high just due to the workload, the people around you. You're in a new atmosphere. It's just a whole new part of your life, and there's a lot of times I'll be told like by a friend who is, I guess, like a third party who's kind of off to the side, like, don't listen to them. They're going through a lot. It's almost like I should take pity, and I should to some extent, because when you're going through a lot, you're not thinking straight necessarily. And I guess it's the way I was brought up. It makes me kind of think against that. The way I was always brought up is that there's a certain tone you don't take with people. That's the title of this whole, I guess, episode, is that no matter what, never take a certain tone with people. That's just, I was kind of raised that way. Did I always follow it? No. Throughout high school, most of high school, I took that tone all the time. And it's only now I'm starting to realize and starting to draw that line of that I never cross. And when I talk about this subject to people in my friend group, I always tell them, notice when I talk to people, when I get angry or upset or I become a certain way, that there's a certain threshold I'll never cross. I'll never talk to people in a certain way. I'll never do that. I'll get mad, I'll ruin someone's night, but when it comes to saying certain things and taking up a certain way, I won't do it. There's a certain line I won't cross. And it's kind of funny because when guys typically roast each other, and a lot of times I'm not great at that after a certain point, just because I don't cross that line. Makes me kind of boring in those situations, but when I get upset, it helps that I don't cross that line. And that's the theme of this podcast. And I know I'm kind of segueing a little weirdly throughout all of this, but I'm just talking. I don't have like a sheet of paper right here in front of me with, what I'm going to talk about A through Z. I'm just coming out here talking, trying to relate to whoever's listening, whoever may be going through something like this, or, has the dynamics of a situation that this can apply to. And coming from someone who used to have awful anger problems, I would just take them out on whoever, even my own mother and my own sister. They would be big recipients of this explosive anger I would have. And it's taught me a lot reflecting back on it, because I was going through a lot through those years where I did that. I was on medication that was screwing with me. But, it teaches me now that, they understood that, but I still crossed that line. I still took up that tone. I may have been going through that, but it still was wrong. It still negatively affected them, and it carried with them. They don't consciously hold it against me, not at all. My family's great, but subconsciously it's still there. Like, there's still a fear of me being like that again. And there's still that subconscious, I guess, perception that I have. And it's kind of hard to reflect upon that. But again, it's taught me a lot as, moving forward and how to deal with people and just not taking up a certain way. And I know I'm being vague about it, but that's really the only way I can go about it, is talking about it like that. And I'm truly blessed with the friends I have here at Kennesaw. And I won't necessarily state who all of them are, because that changes depending on situation, time. Some people leave, some people go, there's fights, whatever. But one question I get asked a lot is about my friend Pierce and I. It's pretty obvious at this point, now that we're, 7-8 months in, that we're best friends. Like, from a distance you can tell, like, we are on the same page in terms of the stupid things we do. So people often ask me a lot, or at least state a lot, I wish I could have a relationship, a friendship like you and Pierce's. And they'll ask me, how do you get to that point, or, just the dynamics of all of it. And I'll tell them, first of all, me and him, we never acknowledge it. Like we never just sit down and have a moment where we're like, I'm your best friend. I mean, it's just we don't do that. I mean, when you're best friends enough, you just kind of know. You just kind of expect it. You just don't really talk about it. You're just kind of best friends. And also, we build our friendship around the notion of no bullshit. Excuse for the language, but that's just the best way I can describe it. We don't bullshit each other. The worst thing, sorry, for a friendship is for one fight or one argument or one night to have a moment where you're like, oh, I've never heard that before. Like they say, like your friend says something that you've never heard before. Like they say something about you or towards you that you're like, whoa, hold up. I mean, that's the worst thing for a friendship because I mean, honestly, that means you're hiding something. I mean, I'll tell Pierce straight up at times, like, man, you're an asshole. I mean, I won't say it maliciously, but like, man, like you really are an asshole. I'll kind of joke about it too, and he'll have things to say about me, but it's we all constructive criticism, but kind of keep it jokingly. It's kind of a weird construct, but we never we just build our friendship on like we're not gonna bullshit each other. And in return, when maybe one of us gets upset or one of us gets real heated, we're never gonna get to a point where we're gonna have to like take a breather in our friendship because someone said something. I mean, because we put everything out there. I mean, he's having problems at the moment. Not my place to talk about at the moment, but whenever I see someone coming down the pipeline, there would be no hesitation in me bringing it up to him and saying, "Yo, like this is a negative thing. You need to work on it. You got to do this." And that's I mean, it's not just with him. The people who I get along best with, the people who I can always hang out with, never have any problems. They're the same way. They're people I can I'll never have that moment where I'm like, whoa, hold up, what did you just say? What just happened? Like, there's never that moment with the people that are closest to me, and there are a few people like that, not just Pierce, but I mean, when you create these friendships in life, you got to keep that. I mean, even right now, think of some of the people around you that are just been rock core. I mean, I don't know what the heck word that was, but have been to the core best friends for a long time. Like it seems like they can get through anything. Sorry for coughing. It's a little cold out, so it's kind of constricting the way I talk. Anyways, think of people that have been friends for a long time, and you'll find that they don't keep things from each other. There's no quote bullshit. They're never gonna have that moment where it's like, whoa, man. I mean, why'd you say that? I mean, it's happened to me a few times here, but I don't really put much into it. And I guess that segues to the next part I want to talk about is conflict versus drama. In college, I'll hear all the time the word drama. It's thrown around. And I think a lot of times it gets confused with the word conflict. When I think of a conflict, it's like you have a disagreement with someone or some sort of beef or, whatever kind of, I guess, confrontation. What a conflict is that it's that, but it kind of ends after that. Like you kind of have your beef and then you just kind of go on. You might make up later, but I mean, it really ends there. You don't really need to talk about it. There's no social groups that really need to know. You just kind of have your thing and move on. Drama for me is that, but it continues. Like the two of you walk away and it continues after that. And in college, a lot of the times, it's really is drama where, both those two people or three people, how many, they'll go to their own social circle, they'll talk, they'll whine, complain, and then other people get charged about it. And it just drags on a whole lot of people that's really unnecessary. When in reality, it could be resolved in a much easier way. And I really am grateful for the small core group I have because we'll have conflicts, but not a lot of drama. Me and Pierce, or me and Arthur, me and Nick, whoever, we'll have arguments, conflicts, but it never really extends past that. And I love that about all that about our personalities. I mean, we'll fight with people even outside our friend circle. I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll come together and be like, this is what I think. This is what he thinks. Let's talk about it a little bit. But it won't really go past that. Like, we don't really won't really drag anything on. And I'm grateful for that. And I really encourage people with their friend groups to do the same thing. I mean, just me and my friends, it's honestly, we just almost don't care enough. I mean, it's like it's too much energy, too much time. I mean, we're too busy here at Kennesaw with our degrees and majors and whatnot for us to really continue a beef with someone. And, coming from someone that has a big personality and a big personality incites conflict, I mean, I've come a long way in terms of not prolonging things to make conflicts become drama. Because even right now, I mean, I'll have conflicts with people, and then I'll have a third party come in and say, "Oh, there's drama happening between them," and I'm like, "Man, I just like I don't have the energy or time. I haven't really thought about it. I'll tell you my opinion, but it's really not worth my energy to really invest myself in, unless it's something very serious. If something gets very serious and bad things happen, to be vague about it, then maybe it should become drama." But I mean, a lot of times as people, especially young people, college, high school, we just like to blow up conflicts into drama. We don't talk about it. We don't resolve it. We don't get both sides of the story. It becomes drama. Other people get involved. And it blows up into this thing that really doesn't need to exist in the first place. And I guess that's my whole spiel about conflict and drama, and that just try to keep it a conflict at all costs. And of course, there are situations where it will become drama no matter what, depending how severe it is. But I do generally believe about 80 to 90% of people's conflicts really do, I mean, they don't need to become drama, and that's really that's really dependent on the people that caused the conflict in the first place. And yeah, with your friends, make a friend group that just keep the drama out. Make it a goal. Like mine and my friends, we flee drama like it's the plague. I mean, we're just like we do not want any part of this. Like it needs to move along, stay away from us. I'll even get mad sometimes when things become drama because I hate it so much. And I guess I can segue on. I mean, I'm trying to keep this under 25 minutes. We're at almost 18 minutes currently. I guess I can move on to. I've had a couple questions from, I guess, the first podcast, or between the first and second. I don't quite remember, but one of them was for me to talk about love triangles. This person asked to remain anonymous. Now, for those who don't really know what a love triangle is, it's not really a love triangle. It's really more of like a love, I guess, arrow or like a mountain. Like, there's a focal point, the top. The top person, there's the one person that's the center of all of it. Then there are two people that have the same interest on that focal point. I mean, I guess if you want to visualize it the best, it's kind of like you take a perfect triangle and take out the base. I mean, that's pretty much it. So you have two people liking the same person, and usually that causes drama. Yes, the actual word drama, because people get involved and whatnot. And I guess my advice for it is don't involve yourself in that. The only reason why love triangles exist is because the focal point, the person that is being liked by two people, allows it to happen. For me personally, if there are two people liking me, I'll talk to them. Like if I'm interested in being with them too, I'll talk to them, get to know them. But I mean, I'll eventually make my decision, and I'll make it pretty clear. I won't drag it on. I mean, because if you're respectful about it, if you pretty much go to one person and say, and pretty much say like, you're a great person, I like you. I mean, hopefully the conversation goes like this, but we're just not meant to be together. That won't create a love triangle. Love triangles, I guess, just the way I'm trying to explain it, love triangles only exist is when you feed that interest. And you're not being necessarily distinct and clear about which way you're going to go, so you're just kind of leading them on. And that's dependent on the focal point. And because, I mean, if not, then there's just two people liking one person, and then you're just kind of trying to get their attention better. So my advice is that when you find yourself in that and you're not the focal point and you're kind of duking it out, if it does become a love triangle, the way I'm explaining it, it's not worth it. It's not. I mean, like, they're not mentally mature enough. It's just, you don't need to involve yourself in that. And it kind of says a lot about the person who is the focal point, because obviously they don't know what they want. I mean, someone who is ready to date actually should really know what they want, and they shouldn't be leading anyone on. And there's also people talk about you don't want to hurt any feelings. I mean, that's that's all part of the game. That's just the way we play it. Feelings will get hurt, but if you stay kind, true, and honest, then there's really, I mean, that's all you can do. Like, it's not a love triangle at that point. It's just, like I said, two people liking one person. And you keep all that BS out of the way. Just, if you're one of the people interested in them, just try to get yourself out there, talk to them, stay kind, stay true, stay honest. And if they don't liking you and you stay that way, well, then you know what, they missed out. You can be content with moving on. Because I do believe that most people get upset in these situations of coming up short and pursuing people when they don't have questions answered, or they kind of feel incomplete in their quest. And it's just like not a very healthy pursuit. Because I feel like when there is a healthy pursuit, and you search for, I guess, your significant other, and it does end up failing, and it's all healthy, I mean, there's not much to complain. It's just like, oh, well, I mean, it didn't work out, time to move on. But I guess that ends my spiel about love triangles. Just stay out of it. Obviously, the person at the focal point doesn't know what they want, doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't have your best interest at hand. And I guess that's it. I mean, if anyone has any questions, definitely, or ideas for me to talk about, definitely come to me about them. Not a lot of people, obviously, are watching them because I'm not YouTube famous, but I am making these for people I know, my social circle, because I do want to help people. I really like helping people. So please keep coming in with comments or questions, and I'll make sure to try to address them, and whenever I get back at it again. Thanks.